Hello, everybody. Welcome to not another Isekai, a show all about this current season's anime. Which ones we're watching, which ones we ain't watching, which ones are Isekai. Always too many. Always too many of them every season. What are we doing? Bring back Shonen. I'm Tyler, and yeah, we're gonna get into it. Got a bunch of shows to talk about today, as always. Right off the top, though, are we on the right? We are, okay. Right off the top, though, I will just say last episode, I did, Jesus, I did talk about adding some new shows to the list. Um, some new shows, trying to sneak a few in there at the end, try to finish them up, wrap them up before the end of the season. Those shows were Bochi the Rock, Akiba Maid War, and Arknights Prelude to Dawn. Didn't do that. Didn't watch any of those. Didn't have the time. Thought I did. I didn't. So you're not going to hear me talk about those today. I will try to do it for next episode, though. I'll definitely make time. Probably not going to catch up in them completely because that'd be me watching like 9 episodes of each of those shows. And that's not even then counting the regular shows. So altogether, that'd probably be like almost 40 episodes of anime I'd be watching in one week, which is possible, but kind of nuts. So not gonna do that. But I'll probably watch like maybe like 4 or so, try and get like halfway there, and then catch up on the next episode. That's probably what I'll try to do. So yeah, look out for that. But yeah, that's it for the little intro there. So let's get into it for real. So of course we always start off with Spy Family season 2 episode 9. We're getting close, man. Only a few more episodes. We're getting there. It's a good time. For this one, let's see what happened this episode. Oh yeah, we have the introduction of Fiona Frost. Fiona, or Nightfall, right? It's like her spy name. You know, everyone has like this very similar naming scheme for all these people. I'm gonna have Twilight, and then I think Daybreak was the other one, right? But yeah, so we have Fiona, who very clearly wants to replace Yor as Lloyd's wife. It gets very creepy too. She like loves Lloyd a lot. And then my favorite part of this whole like introduction to her character and like who she looks like she is like this like super hard agent, versus who she really is, or like why she's here. And you have Anya sitting there like just disgust, because Anya has the facial expressions, right? That's like her, one of her defining traits as a character. And we just see her just like disgusted, like she's because Fiona has this whole fantasy in her head about like cleaning all of his shirts and bringing home all this cash and doing a crazy amount of research on Twilight's next dozen missions, next dozen targets, right? And Anya's just like, she needs to go. she she's way too into this. I don't like it. It's not good. So I love that, and then it even goes even further because then, she can read minds, right? So she's doing whatever, and then everything that Yor does, Fiona is secretly critiquing it, and saying that, oh, I'm gonna push her out. I'm gonna, the things I'm gonna do to help Anya become what she needs to be part of the mission, all that stuff. So Anya just doubles down, and it gets, a little over the top, but she just doubles down super hard on like how much she loves Yor and how much Yor is the only mother for her. It's great, And then Yor's over here like um, super self-conscious because we know Yor's always like that, right? With everything Yor does, she's like super in her own head about it because that's just her role in this family. Is that she, the whole reason why she's here is because she was super paranoid about her not being with someone, right? Because there's all this gossip and stuff about how, oh, once a woman reaches a certain age, if she's not with someone, then it looks suspicious, And then on top of that, oh, only spies wouldn't have some sort of relationship past a certain age. So it's like, oh well, why aren't you with someone? Why don't you have some sort of romantic partner yet? Oh, it must be because you're a spy, and spies can't really settle down. And so she got super paranoid about that, and that's why she's with Lloyd. That's why she's in this mess. Um, so, but then on the flip side, she also loves being accepted. I think that's on the other side of this coin, right? Where she loves it whenever Lloyd compliments her and says, "Hey, you're doing a good job." And so when Anya does it, it's incredible too. She goes over, talk about how much she loves her, she wants to cuddle with her, all that stuff. It's like, oh, it's the best. Um, and then yeah, so that's basically one part of the episode is that whole debacle. I'm sure. Again, I've read the manga. I'm not all the way caught up, but I've read past this for sure. Um, I don't remember if we see Frost again. We probably do. I don't remember though, but just kind of with the way this interaction ended, with her being like, I'm gonna prove myself to Lloyd. I'm gonna make sure that at some point in the future he is going to accept me, and he's gonna be like, wow, you're incredible. Let's toss Yor out, and Fiona's gonna be here. Um, Probably not gonna happen. I think that would, again, this isn't even me just going on like future spoiler stuff. This is just me, understanding what this show is so far. I don't think that would happen. I think it'd be kind of nuts for the show to go that way, where it's like, oh yeah, yours replaced, yours gone. Like, what? Really? That's odd. Um, but yeah, and then there's like a little, kind of like smaller part of the episode, I would say, when Bond gets super jealous of Mr. Penguin, and so he attacks him, right? Just tatters him, right? Um, and it's it's really sad because Bond is a much smarter dog. I feel, or at least he's portrayed that way, and so he understands what he did, but it's sad when Anya hates him. I said, I hate you, Bond. What are you doing? She goes to throw a tantrum, all that stuff. And it truly does hurt him. To the point where he does try to apologize. He gives her peanuts. He's like, hey, my bad. I don't know what got over me. you know, but that's nice. Just like one thing that I feel like the show does pretty well is it throws in those little tidbits of sort of like character growth, right? Where we don't need any growth for the Bond dog. We don't. Bond at this point doesn't really need to be an important part of this show. Doesn't need to be, right? The fact that he's there, the fact that we can have some shenanigans every now and again, that's more than enough, but for there to be this scene where he grows closer to Anya, he makes a mistake, something that again didn't need to happen in the show, right? We didn't need there to be this like redemption, of this dog, but there is, and it's like, oh, kind of makes us care about the dog more, and also makes us believe in some sort of true relationship that that Bond has with Anya. That's great. It's awesome. But yeah, that was episode 9. We're getting close, I believe. I don't know exactly, but single season shows have 12 or 13 episodes generally, so only a few more. We're getting close. Like I said, it's already the top of December right now, so end of the year, that's when all the single season shows are going to come to an end. We do have a few on the list right now that are double seasons, so those are going to roll over. But we're coming to an end. I'm very interested. Again, I don't remember the whole like beat by beat, like sequence of this story, so I don't really even know what they're leading to, because I think I mentioned it last time where the first season ended with the tease of Bond, and I was like, oh, because all the manga readers like, oh, that's the dog, he's gonna be the dog. But for me, but for this, I'm just like, I don't really know. I don't really know where where we're going with this. So, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Next, we got My Hero Academia season 6, episode 10. We're getting closer again. I believe is My Hero a single season? I guess it would make sense with kind of where it's ending up, kind of where it feels like it's all culminating towards. Although this episode did kind of have somewhat of an end, somewhat of like a, okay, this thing is kind of over for now. Now to regroup. So yeah, so basically this episode, at the beginning we have the kind of reminding us that Aizawa not doing well, right? Bakugo just got clapped. We don't know what's going on with him. um, and then so it's kind of a little bit of a ramp up, a little bit of a classic shonen protagonist ramp up, and just like, okay, y'all are hurting my friends. My power's about to be dialed up to 11, because that's just how anime works, right? So Midoriya started to go crazy. For a second there, I was like, oh, he's about to take out Shigaraki. He's going nuts right now. But it didn't happen. All for one kind of palmed his face and brought him to the shadow realm where he belongs, right? And then for a hot second there, we were like, did his powers get taken? Did his one for all get taken? I thought that because, again, he palmed his face. Some of the red mist was coming off of him, onto, being absorbed into Shigaraki. I was like, oh no, that's it. What is the show gonna be now? But no, I didn't. We learned later that didn't quite happen. But yeah, it was very interesting that most of the episode kind of took place in this weird shadow realm. More of the visualization of what happens when All for One takes someone's powers. It was cool. There's a lot of exposition here that I didn't really care about. A lot of talking, a lot of like, oh, I'm painted as this because this happens, and I see this, and it's a spiritual thing. And I'm just like, all right, I don't care. Let's just keep going. But there was a couple cool things here where I'm sure this was. I mean, we know because there's a couple flashbacks, so this was teased. But I guess if it wasn't confirmed yet, it was confirmed this episode where Shimura is Shigaraki's grandmother. So because I know, because they did flashback to it where his sibling was showing him the picture. Was like, hey, I think secretly, I don't remember her superhero name, but Shimura is our grandmother. And I actually do remember that. I don't remember what context that was in, like if Shigaraki was having a flashback or if he was, I don't know, but yeah. So that was cool. I was kind of learning that one of the illest villains, or one of the most active villains, prominent villains, was the grandson of one of the previous One for All wielders. There's a nice little juxtaposition there, right? And what else we got? We got quick little cuts, quick little ending here with Toga, who wants to ask Midoriya and Uraraka where they draw the line, because she was, it seems like she was closest to, what's that dude's name? I didn't write it down. The guy that died, right? They could like duplicate. Was that his name? Duplicate? I don't know. But yeah, she's like super close, so that's still bumming her out, and she wanted to ask where they draw the line, because he seemed like he really wanted to help people, right? Or at least from her perspective, right? Wanted to help, wanted to do right, and then he may have messed up, right? But then we have y'all who are supposed to be heroes, who are supposed to save people, save the right people, save the good people, and y'all killed them. So what's gonna happen with you? Because y'all are saying that we do bad stuff, we kill people, so we get in trouble. But then you kill someone and you can just get away with it. That's not even. That's not balanced. And so she wants to ask, her friends, or people that she loves, where they draw the line. Like, why is that situation different? Why is Hawks able to get away with that? It's an interesting argument. I mean, I don't completely agree with it, right? Because you are the bad guys. I do like how they are, and I talked about this I think a few episodes ago. This was when Hawks and them were having that whole thing, where they do bring up interesting points, right? But the problem is that for all the reasons you're claiming that you do these things, you don't have to do these things. Like Shigaraki being who he is and him just wanting to just destroy everything, because of how heroes, how heroes treated him and tossed to the side and all. It's a classic villain story, but you don't have to do that. Like, you can do something else with your life, It doesn't have to be all death and destruction and we gotta prove something to the heroes. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of the heroes are very vain, very selfish, but I don't know, like, in a way it comes down to that old saying, two wrongs don't make a right. It's like, just because you feel like they're wrong, well then, why don't you infiltrate? Why don't you become a hero? Why don't you try to do something from the inside rather than becoming a villain, wilding out. And just, like, I don't know, I understand where they're coming from, but it's the execution is what you know what what turns people off from their cause, I think. But yeah. And then Uraraka says Toga's questions are stupid, right? That was a big thing with her, because she's like, did you cut that old lady? Did you get her blood just so you can trick me for this specific thing to ask me some dumb questions, you know, about like what's the difference? What's gonna happen with me? What are you gonna do to me because I'm doing this? And that kind of caused her to space out a little bit, kicked her to the thing, through the wall, through the door, or whatever. And we don't know what's gonna happen now, right? It's kind of stopped there. Um, you know, Uraraka has this kind of lame response, like I will apprehend you. It's like, all right, man, cool. I mean, again, I get it. I get what she wants to do, but, um, I, I mean, I could see next episode with Uraraka actually answering the question, like kind of going full depth into it, but I don't know that she cares enough. Again, she's a hero. Toga's a villain. Her whole thing is she wants to save as many people as possible. So I'm gonna stop you. I'm not gonna sit here and talk. We're not gonna have, a nice little debate here. Like I'm stopping you, right? But we'll see. We'll see. It could happen. This is an anime. Speeches happen. It is what it is. Yeah, that was episode 10, My Hero Academia. Pretty good. Pretty good. Like I said, this episode, a little bit of a dip for me. Just a little bit. I feel like a lot of exposition, a lot of talking. I'm just like, I don't care. Move on. But I think next episode will kind of bring it back a little bit. I think we'll see more of, because it seems like Shigaraki is retreating, right? So hopefully we can come together, lick our wounds, see what's happened with Aizawa. I'm very interested in that. What happened with Bakugo? How messed up is he? And this whole Toga thing. And honestly, though, like everyone else too, because the gigantic man is almost here, right? With all the different League of Villains. So are they going to come here and fight? Are they just going to come in, scoop up Shigaraki and leave? I don't know. We'll see, though. We'll see. Next, Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 9. This was the Tsubomi episode. We're not quite there yet. But, to be fair, don't know if we're going to get there. And we'll talk about that at the end. So, this episode was crazy, guys. Like, honestly, it was crazy stuff in the middle, but the way it ended was nuts. So let's get there, because this whole episode is about Tsubomi is leaving, right? She's moving somewhere, so she's not gonna be in school anymore in like a month or something. I don't know. So this whole 90% of this episode is everyone kind of pumping up Mob. the body improvement club is like, giving him advice. Kurata giving him advice, you should cut his hair. Ritsu is, wants to give him as much like siblingly advice as he can. In his mind though, he's like, dang though, I think I remember Tsubomi talking about how she already likes someone that goes to another school. So it's not, there's not even a chance it's Mob. Because at the very least, if she was like, oh yeah, I like someone, could be Mob. He goes to another school. Oof, can't be Mob because he goes to the same school. And then I just made a note of like Mob is likable. I think that is a big thing with this whole show, is that Mob is kind of standoffish, right? He's shy. He's he doesn't really he's not really involved in a lot of things. He's kind of on his own for most of the time, except for going to the body improvement club. He has a couple friends, I guess, and then he goes to work, right? So it's, I feel like there is this kind of aura about him. But then you look at this episode and it's like there's so many people trying to help him, wanting him to do his best. There's like the dude at the flower shop that sees him with the single flower because, Mob is poor. And he's like, no, 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 take this. It's like, oh, see, like he has people around the town that like him, because Mob is just that dude. He wants to help people. No, it's always been Mob, right? So just throughout his little adventures, he's crossed paths with so many people and had positive experiences with them. So it's like, he has a wave. He has a wave behind him, and I just like that. And it also goes against his whole, self-doubt energy that he has this whole episode where he's like, oh, I don't know, why would she like me, blah, 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 what am I going to do? And it's like, dog, just do you. You've gotten this far. People at one point may have looked at you as like that kid who just sits in the corner, doesn't do nothing, doesn't say nothing, whatever. But like now, no one can say that about you because you're constantly around other people. There's even points where people were fighting for his attention. So it's like, you're good, man, you're good. But then the two other things I want to touch on is, one, there's a line of people, right? Tsubomi, super popular, one of the top popular people in the whole school. So there is a literal line of guys who are just like, confessing to her, and she's just saying no, 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 no. Because again, if what Ritsu said is true, or if what Ritsu heard Tsubomi say is true, because I don't know, even in that episode, I was like, is she just saying that? Because that's like a very cliche thing. It's like, oh no, yeah, I like someone. He goes to another school though. You don't really know him. Was she just saying that to kind of just brush off the question? Does she actually like someone from another school? Is that we don't know. But to have a literal line, that was nuts. But then the wild thing that I'm sure everyone was waiting for is Mob got the flowers, got the thing, right? Car comes in. He's gonna cross the street. Car comes in like out of nowhere. He uses his psychic powers to stop it so it doesn't hit the cat, right? It is a black cat, and I feel like that was intentional. Black cat, right? Black cat scurries along. All right, cool. Save the cat. Awesome. Then green light. We Gucci. Him and this other kid who's like playing on a DS, crossing the street. Another car comes in, going nuts. I'm like, dog, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you, clearly a red light. What are you doing? Coming in, and kid's about to get hit. Mob, I guess, doesn't really think about using his powers, or I guess it just happens so quickly. He's just like, oh, I don't, he doesn't really see it coming, so he just has his like instincts where he just like pushes the kid, jumps in the way. Mob gets hit by the car, and we see the kid is okay, and then we see Mob. Mob is not okay. Mob is on the ground, pool of blood, going nuts, not moving. We see the flowers are smashed. It's like, oh man, oh no. And that's kind of where it ends. So, wild ending, one of the wildest endings of the entire show. I would say all 3 seasons. It sucks, because the way the day was supposed to go, he was stressing out about this for the past couple days. he finally has like a meeting time. He sounds really nervous. Even Tsubomi was like, "You said you sound kind of funny." Working up towards it. Everyone giving him advice, patting him on the back, getting the flowers, all that stuff. Um, going there to meet her, and then for him to get hit by a car. And it's like, he's probably not dead, but what happens there? He's trying to do everything right, trying to push his life forward. One of his biggest motivators is Tsubomi. Wanting to be with her. So for all that to come very close again, we don't know what Tsubomi was gonna say. We have no idea. But for him to be so close to an answer of some sort, and then for him to get hit by a car, it's like, what's going on with the universe, man? What is happening? And also just in a very physical sense, it's like, man, I hope he's okay. I hope I hope he's not dead. I imagine him getting hit, going into a coma for long enough, comes out the coma, Tsubomi's already moved. It's like, oof. That's something, huh? That is some unfortunate circumstance. I was gonna say karma, but it's like not even karma. Mob's done good. He shouldn't have any bad karma. But again, like that, we'll see. Just to see what you guys think. Like, how bad do you think it is, right? Because I think it's pretty bad. Yeah, pretty good. Like I said, with this, a few episodes left. We're kind of at a strange point for me, especially with the way this ends. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's gonna be any more crazy psychic stuff happening. I mean, there is. I believe this one is 13 episodes, so we got 4 episodes left. So there's plenty of time, right? Plenty of time for wild stuff to happen. But I don't know. Maybe this ending here is gonna be mostly just focusing on Mob's normal human stuff and not really any psychic stuff. We'll see. Could happen. Next, we got Blue Lock. Blue Lock episode 9. Always waiting for this show, man. Always. We're always here. Man, Blue Lock is just one of them shows, man. It's just one of them shows. So we got Nagi. Nagi hit him with the jump kick, going nuts, right? So this is more evidence of how strong their team is, how strong Nagi is. And up until this point, we're super early in the match, but Nagi is their whole team, So at this point, I'm sitting here like, because I could see how some people could watch this team and say, oh, Nagi's the team, right? Like everyone else is supporting, but Nagi's the reason why they're winning. But I know better. I've seen enough sports anime to know, no, this is just the guy. I bet you that every other person on this team's a killer, but they just haven't shown it yet because they don't have to. Nagi in himself is just going to score 15 goals and just win. But hit him with that crazy jump kick, and then, like I said, this is when we start to see other team members, right? So we say Zentetsu is faster than Chiguri, which is nuts because that's Chiguri's whole thing, is that he's Sonic. So then you have Zentetsu who's faster. It's like, oh no, Chiguri's useless. Chiguri has been shut out. His whole thing is speed. So if someone is faster than him, he's just a guy. His weapon is canceled. And so we kind of start to see this early on in this match where it's like, so he's getting canceled. Nagi is just going nuts. But if we do anything to stop him, I mean, even double teamed, he hits that jump kick. So if we triple team him, we're already, putting more than one dude on another dude. It leaves other spots open. And then on top of that, we already have Kuon, who's not playing. He's just standing there. He's on the field, but he's already said, like, I'm not doing nothing. You kidding me? I'm just gonna sit here. So they're already one man down. So then that lets people like Zentetsu shine. Not that he wouldn't already shine on his own, because we know that this team's full of killers. But now Chiguru's there, so if he's not fast enough, then it leaves a wide open shot. It's like, what are you gonna do? You can't do anything. But I love this next moment because it's honestly one of the reasons why I love sports anime, because people just go crazy, right? So we have Bakura, who's fired up, and he's like, "Ooh, I'm excited," and people are like, "Yo, what's going on with Bakura?" And it's like, his whole thing is he's like, they're better than us. Like, they are the better team. They are the better group of individuals as well. So we have to go past our limits. We have to get better. We have to go nuts to beat them. And also, if we beat them, because like the whole point of Blue Lock is to be the best striker, not only in Blue Lock but in Japan, right? Like, we're supposed to be this, supposed to go nuts. That's the whole point. And so, like, if we can't beat them, then if I can't beat them, then I'm not the best striker. It's just simple. As simple as that. So it's like, I'm going to do everything I can to beat them. We have to level up to beat them, or else we deserve to lose. Like, the best striker is supposed to win. So if we're not the best, then we're not the best. Get good, And so he's fired up, and so he's just going nuts, right? Because, Bakura's weapon, I think, is the most fun to watch. Because this whole thing is like ball handling, dribbling. So him doing these crazy moves, double kick, doing the whole, flip up thing. I don't know what it's called, but like, I'm going nuts. I'm going crazy, making these people look like fools, and he scores, right? At that point, that fires everyone up, because we're like, hey, I just did that. I did that over there. We can do this. Why don't everyone step up? I went crazy. I pushed my limits and I scored. That means everyone else here can do it too. Because, I believe in everyone. And then he's eyeing Isigi like, yo, I'm looking at you, dog. And it's just great. It's just awesome, And what's the outcome of that? Kunigami scored outside his normal range, right? Because he has a range where he has a crazy boot, right? But he does have a range where if he goes outside of it, he can still score, I guess. But, it's not really, I don't want to say it's not guaranteed, but, he's not as, not as confident, right? But he decided, like, nah. Like, he figured it out again. He went past his normal limits, and he was able to score outside of his range, a few meters outside of his normal range. And that shocked everyone, because they're like, well, like, we know his zone. We just keep him out of there. He's not going to score. He's not going to score, but he did. And so again, that's a big thing about this episode. We even see some stuff from Ego, but it's just like, the best scorer shines like that. When they're put in a position where they have to do something, where they're facing people who are better than them, and they're finally able to get that last puzzle piece to be like, oh, I understand now. I understand how to score, how to push myself to a point where before couldn't win in the situation. Now I can, because now I finally understand mentally what to do. I figured it out. Yeah. Another thing I do want to say, I just want to bring it up real quick. I don't remember his name, but he's like the like gray and black haired dude. Because like his whole weapon is just like crazy shots, I guess, like unorthodox shots. I think. He had that scorpion kick, the one where you kick up and your legs are behind you and you kick with both feet. That's nuts. I don't know if that's something that people people actually do, like in real life soccer. I don't think it can be, because that seems like a really dangerous shot to pull off. But that was nuts. He almost scored with it too. He was close. He was close with that shot. But that was crazy. And then Chiguri stepping up too, where again, because Ego talked about it, where it's like, it's not just it's not just someone going Super Saiyan and just like being better. It's more so a player being put in a position where they have to think about something in a different way. Because like with this case in point, Chiguri, we saw that Chiguri is not as fast as Zentetsu, but then he figured it out. He's like, no. It's not that Zentetsu's faster than me. It's that he has more acceleration than I do. So in a short sprint, it's gonna look like he's just flat out faster than me because he has more acceleration, right? He can get off the line quicker than I can. But in a longer sprint, he doesn't have the consistent speed that I do. So he's gonna start faster than me, but as the distance goes on, I'm gonna catch up to him and I'm gonna pass him. So he was able to figure all that out in such a short period of time, and also not only figure just out the general idea of it, but he was able to figure out his range as well. Like, hey, outside of this range, if I kick the ball far enough, then we're gonna go outside of his range, and I'm gonna excuse me, I'm gonna be able to pass him. That's what he does. Passes him, scores like crazy, going nuts. I think it's 3-3 now. I think it's tied. But yeah, man. Again, like that's kind of what this whole episode was about. It was about people being like, "Hey, get good." You guys have some pretty solid weapons, but you can't let them stay stagnant. Because people are gonna figure them out. It's the same thing with other sports anime, where it's like, you have people that have these skills, these weapons, and they're dope. But then the more matches you play, the more people see your weapons, the more people are like, oh, we know how to beat that. Because we've seen that person do it a dozen times. We know kind of what his tells are. We know, when he's gonna do that, how he's gonna do it, where he usually aims, blah blah blah. Whatever the what the setup usually is. So you have to evolve, you have to adapt. And so, that's kind of what this episode was showing. It's like, hey, you guys have good weapons, but if you don't fully understand how to use them, I mean, you're just gonna lose straight up. But yeah, that was episode 9 of Blue Lock. I love it. Fantastic. This is a 2-season show, so we're just about a third of the way there. Or we're a little past the third, but there's still so much to go. So I'm very excited to keep watching this. Yeah, awesome. Next, Eminence in Shadow, episode 9. Yeah, this one was kind of wild too. A lot of doors being opened, I guess, and somewhat of an ending, I'll say, which does make sense because this show has sort of a weird length. It's 20 episodes apparently, so episode 9 we're right about halfway. So the first half was kind of not really its own story, but it makes sense that sort of halfway they're like, all right, cool down for a second, before we kind of ramp up into the next thing. So so with this, we had kind of the ending of this whole terrorist, fake Shadow Garden stuff. We open up, again, it's very Sherry focused these past couple episodes. We see that Sherry saw her mom be murdered as a child. Awful stuff. Not good. Probably one of the worst things that a person could experience, not good. So that, there's that. Add that to her character sheet. And we go back into the present tense. We got Sherry just threw the cross thing at the unsealed, at the eye, unsealed everyone's magic. When she did that, I was like, so that's it? Like that's, so like you just open it and you just throw it. Like in my mind, there had to be more to it, but it's just like an AOE thing. They're just like, nah, just toss it. If it's in this general vicinity, it'll click onto the eye and it'll, okay, cool, man, cool. Listen, if that works, it works. Until everyone's magic, everyone's going ham now. We have the real Shadow Garden coming in against the fake Shadow Garden. Oh man, you thought, listen, man, we are the original, we are here. This is not, you can't just copy us. You can't, listen, you can try your best. You can try your best. You can steal our look, you can try to steal our ambition, You know, you can try to steal our mystery, right, behind like who we are, what we're doing, what we want. But you can't steal our skill, man. Like you can't. You know, like the way they came in, they were just clowning fools. You know, just breaking their swords. Like, come on, dog. Like you can't. What do you think this is? You know, like you should know at least a fraction of what we're able to do because that's the reason you stole our style. Because we were the ones. We were the ones. You know, come on, come on. Um, and then there was just fire coming out the sprinklers. That was crazy. That actually reminded me of now I'm thinking about it, there was um a book series I would read. I actually finished recently. I don't know if any readers out there, but I love reading books. Books are great. There was a series, Scythe. It was the Arc of Scythe. It's a trilogy, sort of like a young adult thing. So it's not like too difficult to read, you know. Um, and yeah, there was a scene. I'm not gonna spoil anything. So I think this was in like the second book. Second book? Yes, yeah, yeah, definitely the second book. Um, well, I don't know about definitely. Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure the second book. Um, where there was something that happened. Yeah, they were. There was like a little terrorist organization, and they were gonna make it so fire, and not just regular fire. It was like some crazy fire. Um, came out of the sprinklers. They were gonna activate the sprinklers, and some crazy fire was gonna come out. So try to burn some of these people. So some of the good guys, right? Because that was like one of the only ways to actually kill them was with fire. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was nuts. But yeah, so this is happening here too. And let's see. We find out that Ruslan is the one who killed Sherry's mother. Ruslan is like the adopted father of Sherry, so that's even crazier. Didn't like that. Didn't like that realization there. Um, and then we have a crazy fight, right? It's crazy, but not really. I mean, Ruslin's over here doing all the anime antagonist stuff, right? With the setup, with the little like monologue thing, with the crazy power up of like, oh, I got the eye, I got all the energy. I'm gonna come in and make you look, just it's just like you watch shows like this where the main character is overpowered because that's become a more and more popular trope as the years have gone on to just be like, hey, we're gonna especially in isekai where the main character is gonna be overpowered, right? That's just like the thing. And one of the aspects to the show will now be, will there ever be someone who can stand up to this man or this woman or other, will there ever be a character that can stand up to our main character? And so far the answer is no. Like he's doing so much extra where he's like, oh, I see you are powerful. Well, lucky for you, I have decided that I am going to come at you with all of my strength. You should feel grateful in death. And I'm just like, man, what are you talking about? What are you even talking about right now? Like, he is like, it's just like, the way you're talking about it, like, before this, you were using, let's say, 50% of your power, right? Let's just say, for as example. The way he was blocking you, dog, he wasn't even moving his body. Only his arm was moving. His body was like a statue, like he wasn't even doing like the different stances, different like turning his head, like he wasn't working to block your shots. Like he was just like bing, 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 like chilling, so easily, while you're doing all the extra stuff, trying to even get close to him, like, and then you're like, you have some skill. It's like, dog, he has all the skill. Like he's swatting at you like a fly, and you're like, I'm gonna win. I'm definitely gonna beat this man. Like what? You're not gonna do anything. He dies. He dies a very similar way that he killed Sherry's mom, right? Where he punch through all the different appendages, and then in the heart twist, all that stuff. Very, very poetic, if not beating you over the head with the similarities. Um, and then Sherry came in and saw him dying. I don't really remember, just because like the way the scene was shot, I'm not 100% sure on how this happened, but I think Shadow was still in the room. Like, did Sherry see Shadow? Did she see his face? Like, I can't imagine that she saw him, and even if she did see him, I can't imagine that she saw that it was Sid, because the way they spoke after that, it was like, oh, because the day after or whatever, Sherry talked to Sid and was like, hey, I didn't, I never got to thank you for the other day, because when Sid was helping her with everything, right, like in the school, getting the artifact, all that stuff. So I guess that makes me believe that she didn't see him, or at least didn't see his face to connect that, oh, Shadow and Sid are the same person. I guess. But then there's like the ending where I get sort of up in the air about it, because she's leaving, right? She said she's leaving. There's nothing here for me anymore. I have other stuff I got to do. And Shadow's like, hey, can I just ask you something? Like, what do you know? What is it that you have to do? And Sherry ponders it, and then she says, it's a secret. And then it ends with her being like, I swear I'll ... And I'm like, I don't like, because like the conspiracy theorist or whatever inside of me is like, she knows that Sid and Shadow are the same person. She saw, and she's about to go somewhere to like up her skills or something and like avenge her father and kill Shadow. But like, as I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, that can't be true, right? Like I don't know. Again, like, it could have nothing to do with Shadow. It could have nothing to do with Sid. It could just be she wants to know. She wants to know what's going on. Maybe she wants to, because again, like, the way she said it, it sounds like she has a mission where she's like, there's something I have to do, so it's got to have something to do with her mom, rustling, artifacts, all that stuff. Like, it has to do something with that, right? I don't know. But yeah, that was episode 9, Eminence in Shadow. Great show. Kind of like I was saying earlier, this does kind of feel like we are now able to exhale and be like, oh, okay. We're kind of letting out the pressure right now. What's next? What is next, right? Like, I imagine the Shadow Garden is going to try to go after more of the actual... Well, no, because I guess Rustlin was the head of that, right? So maybe not. I don't know. I don't really know what's next. I don't know if they really set anything up to be like imminently like, here's the next leg of whatever this is. So we'll see. We'll see. Next we got More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, episode 8. Great show. Just love the show so much. The show is unabashedly what it is. So we have Akari dragging Jiro out of the bath to take care of a spider. Yeah, because that's the cliche, right? Women can't deal with bugs, spiders, all that stuff, and Akari is no different. It's just funny because she dragged him out of the bath, and he's like, no, wait, and she's like, I don't care, you gotta come, yeah, you gotta be with me, you gotta take out the spider. Death is upon us. But yeah, so nothing really happens there. But so they're just kind of chilling. And one thing I wanted to know, it's kind of random, but if you didn't recognize it, I would say go back to the scene and just look at it, because when they were eating ice cream, and she was like, oh, give me some ice cream, and he's like, oh, no, a spoon, whatever. And she he like brings over the spoon of ice cream to her. There's like the shot where it just like zooms in on the spoon of ice cream. That ice cream looked incredible. And I'm not talking about like it looked good. It did, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because like there's the whole thing with like with food and anime. Food and anime always looks incredible for some reason. Especially in Ghibli movies, right? It's like Ghibli movies' whole thing is that whenever they show food on screen, it looks incredible. Um, but it just looks so detailed. Like it looks so realistic. And I want to shout out whoever drew that spoon of ice cream. Props, man, because that like it looked like a real spoon of ice cream. Because people do like a scoop of ice cream, and when they draw a scoop of ice cream, it kind of looks very generic and like, oh, that's not really what the ice cream would look like if you were to scoop a piece of ice cream out of a bowl. It looks too perfect. It looks too like generic. This one looked legit. It looked like, because like the way ice cream forms and it sort of folds and it I was like, dang, man, you, you really went all out. But yeah. And then we move on. Shiori got some advice from Tenjin, about like, basically some very basic advice where it's like, hey, you should do something, act on it basically, right? Like if you liked it, I'm sure they did too. Act on it, do something, um, you know, and again, very, not so subtly being like, I know you're talking about you, but we'll keep acting like you're talking about your friend. We know it's you. So that was cool. May definitely has feelings for Shiori. I think it's more than just friendly. I think May likes Shiori. Again, I've read the manga. I don't have a good memory. That's why I take notes, before I do this show, because if you asked me, hey, watch 9 episodes of anime and then just talk about them, couldn't do it. Couldn't tell you anything about anything. Um, but yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I don't really remember. I don't remember like if May and Shiori ever become a thing. I don't know if she ever becomes like a real threat to anybody. But yeah, I mean, you can just tell not only the way they talk, but then like her getting flustered at certain moments with them, go talk about like a sleepover and then them eating food and the tragic moment where she decides she has to leave because her mom needs her to do something right now. I'm like, oh, that's not real though. That's not real though. Why'd you make that excuse? Very, very upsetting there. Um, but then we have more the ending, right? Jiro apologized for almost kissing Kamo, which very much confused Shiori because Shiori wasn't even looking at them. Jiro thought she was, but she wasn't. So he was like, "Oh, sorry, that was weird. Don't take it the wrong idea." And Shiori's like, What are you talking about?" She was like, "At the diner. You were at a diner?" Just has no idea what Jiro's talking about. So that was funny. Um, but then we do have the ending where it was kind of what we were waiting for. I feel where Shiori finally kind of said her piece about the accidental kiss that they had, and and it was very sweet because her basic sentiment was, I'm not mad, I'm not upset that it happened. I wanted it to happen. I asked you to teach me, right? Like I was the one who brought this on, so the fact that it happened isn't like, oh no, it's like I literally asked for this, you know, um, and a little more, some fluff, but and then Jiro's whole thing was like, why is she telling me all this in this way if she just wants to be my friend? So he's like super confused. He's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know, like, is this her telling me something more? Is this just her, you know, telling me because she's my friend and because she wants me to know? Like, has no idea, right? And it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate, that the very cliche, rom com thing where it's like, will they, won't they? Like, they have to, but when? And then you have Akari over there. It's like, but Akari deserves this. And again, I don't remember exactly what happens. I personally rooting for Jiro and Akari. I feel like theirs is a much more organic feelings, right? Because Akari Akari's is the lowest for me because she's just kind of infatuated with Tenjin. She doesn't know Tenjin though. Like it's just like she likes him from afar. She just has a crush on him from like seeing him around the school. It's like you don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? Like that's just, oh, I like them. I want to be with them. You don't know them though. At least Jiro and Shiori, like Jiro likes Shiori because Jiro actually kind of knows Shiori. They were childhood friends, and now they kind of reunited. They can whatever, right? I mean, with Akari and Jiro, it's like, well, they didn't like each other, and they were put together, and it's like, oh no, they actually work really well together. They actually care about each other, and they complement each other very well. Um, in my mind, it's a no-brainer. The only wrench in the machine is Shiori. For me, Shiori, because I feel like Jiro is slowly moving more and more towards Akari. I feel like he definitely has those feelings whenever certain moments happen, and then Akari is so clear, which makes sense because, like I said, her other love is baseless. So it makes sense that she's like, oh no, I actually like Jiro because I actually like Jiro. you know, I don't just like the idea of him. But again, the only wrench is Shiori because Tenjin, we've had hints that Tenjin likes Akari. Even last episode. Episode 8, right, where he does mention like, oh, for me, it's too late or something, right? So that kind of insinuates that, oh yeah, right, like he actually does kind of like Akari. But again, we don't see too much of Tenjin, so we don't really know how strong the feelings are, how long he's liked her. Like we don't know anything really. Shiori's different though. Shiori, we know. I mean, we've been digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Where, there was the flashback from Shiori's perspective, where I'm pretty sure Shiori wanted to tell Jiro her feelings, and like the way she meant them didn't really come across to Jiro. He didn't really have a chance, right? Like Jiro like cut her off because of his own insecurities about the situation. And we also know from Shiori's perspective, she wants to get with him, like she's trying, but she becomes very shy about these things. Hence her her asking, "Hey, can you can you practice kissing with me?" It's like that's such a weird setup, to get what you want. Um, but that to me is the wrench because we don't know too much about Tenjin, but we know that Shiori legitimately likes Jiro. It's like oof. Because if both of them were kind of like, you'd be like, oh, well, clearly Akari and Jiro, 100%. But now it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't hate Shiori. In another anime, Shiori might suck. It might be like, man, get Shiori out of here. But in this anime, it's like, no, like Shiori's kind of cool. So I don't want her to get hurt. But Akari and Jiro actually live together, and they actually have to deal with each other day in and day out. Like they have the most the most evidence with each other that how much they like or don't like each other. Tenjin is from afar. Shiori is from afar. There's not much substance there, with those links. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't remember what happens. I don't think the anime is over, or the manga is over. So I don't even think there is an ending at this point, or like obviously if it's still going, there's no ending. What I meant to say was, I don't even think in the manga anyone is together. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Again, like I said, my memory ain't all the way there, so I could be completely wrong. But to where at least where I read, I don't think anyone's together. So we'll see. What just happened? Okay, I clicked the button and nothing happened. Okay, so Chainsaw Man, episode 8. Episode 8. What was this episode? Oh yeah, this episode was nuts. For a second, I was like, oh, I think this was kind of a low episode. Nope, this episode was absolutely wild, especially the end. So we have, a little bit of a flashback here where we see Makima give Denji his first indirect kiss, and it's like, oh, it's so sweet. We're coming off of the whole Himeno thing, didn't take advantage. Denji was like, no, I want my first time to be with Makima, all that stuff, right? We're clear as day. We have this nice little alliance that forms. It reminds me of Toradora. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Toradora. Toradora, for the longest time, my favorite anime of all time. It's a nice little rom-com. I think at this point, if I were to reevaluate all the anime I've ever seen, Toradora might not be my favorite anymore, but it's still up there. It's still up there. Because in Toradora, the whole premise of that show is there's these two people who link who don't like each other, right? Like they're like, I don't really like you just as a person, not even romantically, just like we're not really like compatible just in terms of our energies. But I like this girl who you're friends with, and you like this guy who I'm friends with. So let's have a little alliance. I'm gonna help you get with my friend. You're gonna help me get with your friend. It's gonna be mutual, right? Symbiotic relationship. And that's literally the whole premise of the show, what it goes off on. Of course, it gets crazy. Again, if you haven't seen Toradora and you're into sort of like the rom-com type stuff, go watch it, because it might be the best. At the very least, top five rom-coms ever made. Like, no doubt, and like, I don't think anyone who's into rom-com anime will dispute that. There are just a few shows that are in ilk above the rest, and Toradora is one of those. Yeah, so that's my little Toradora plug. But yeah, so that's kind of what happens here, right? Where, Himeno was like, hey, I'll try to help you get with Makima, right? Because I have a little bit more of a relationship with her. I've known her more. I'm also a female, so that helps, I guess, maybe. But you have to help me get with Aki. We're gonna dual wield this thing. And so yeah, that's a nice little thing that, again, I don't remember that happening at all. I don't know what'll come of that, especially with how this episode ends. But yeah, that's a nice little thing there. What else do we have? Yeah, so then it pops off. Then the episode pops off where a bunch of people just double tap Makima and her associate in the head. Bang, bang. And listen, guys, I've already said it. This episode, I've said it previous episodes. I'm going to say it here again. I've read the manga, I'm not caught up in part 2 of the manga, but I caught up. Read all part 1. I know everything. It's in my brain somewhere. I know everything that happens. When I tell you I do not remember this happening, please believe me. I'm telling the truth. I do not remember Makima just getting clapped like that in the train. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's not real, right? Like Makima's Makima. Like, she is one of the most like advertised characters of this whole show. She's in the OP. She's in the ending. It's Makima. You know what I mean? Like, that's the character. So it's like, she can't be gone, right? Like, I don't remember. Like, she's a devil hunter, so I imagine she might have a contract with someone. Like, maybe the devil helps. Maybe, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, that wasn't Makima. That was someone else. Like, no, I think it was Makima, but she can't be dead though. Like, and that's not even me going on like future spoiler stuff. That's me sitting here being like a rational anime viewer, where it's like so much of her character was built up in these last 7, 8 episodes. It's like, there was so much mystique about her, and she's also like the head of everything. It's like, so she's just gone. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my memory is super failing me, and Makima is actually dead, and we never see her again. But I don't think that's the case. But again, I don't remember what it actually is though. Like, I don't remember, like, is it a contract with another devil? Is she herself? She just has crazy powers or something. Like, does someone bring her back to life? Like, did she actually die and someone's about to bring her back to life? Is she secretly a fiend? Like, I don't remember. I really don't remember what it is. Um, but yeah, and then um, and then just more stuff happens, right? Where they're clearly being targeted. We imagine it's by the gun devil. That's my guess. Because they all have guns, right? Like, Makima gets shot. Two rookies, don't remember their names. Two rookies get shot, killed. They're off screen, so I guess technically maybe they could be alive, but they're gone, right? We cut to Denji and the crew. Denji, Power, Aki, and Himeno. Denji gets clapped, shot in the side of the head, gone. Himeno gets hit, not killed, but she definitely gets hurt. We're popping off. The shooter turns out to be what I like to refer as Machete Man, sort of like Chainsaw Man, where Machete Man also has these like machetes coming out of his wrists and one coming through his face, sort of like Chainsaw Man. So he's going buck wild. Not really too powerful though. I mean, he is, but not like oh man, he's a problem. It's more so just like he caught us off guard. So Aki, I think because of that, because Denji just got shot, Aki's not doing well. Um, I forget what Power's doing. Power rocked him, but I don't remember what Power's doing at this very moment. But Aki is using the sword he's not supposed to use, right? The one that just takes time off his life to defeat him, which sucks because it works, but we know like, oh no, Aki's not supposed to use that sword. And like, was the sword necessary in the situation? I don't know, but it works. We win. We're getting there. We're gonna lick our wounds, all that stuff, figure out exactly what's happening. Hey, Power, take care of. Oh yeah, that's what Power's doing. Power's taking care of Himeno. Trying to make her wounds stop. Right. Figure out if Denji's actually dead. All that stuff. But then there's this girl who helped Machete Man kind of like brush his shoulders and stuff. You know, picked him up. It's like, yo, keep going. um, and then Aki got hit, right? Machete Man came up, got hit by one of the things. So Aki's not doing well. He got like hit in the chest or something. Like he's out, right? He's not dead, but he's out. And so Himeno gives everything to this ghost devil. I don't remember if it actually is the ghost devil, but gives everything to the ghost devil so that he could save Aki, so that she could save Aki, because that's her whole world, right? And when I say everything, I mean everything. Like by the end of this, she's gone. Like she's just losing herself piece by piece, literally just disappearing from existence. You just see her clothes. And on top of that, we have the girl. Well, let's just forget about that for a second. We then have Aki. No, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. So that's happening. The Ghost Devil is fighting this Machete Man, taking him out, right? I'm pretty sure the Ghost Devil does. Ghost Devil claps him. Yeah. Because sorry, I'm forgetting. There's a couple things I didn't write down because I'm an idiot. But in the midst of that, Aki uses the Wolf Devil to eat Machete Man. Doesn't really work out. It's like he's not human and he's not devil. We don't know what he is. Kind of like cuts his way out of the Wolf Devil. So Wolf Devil is kind of out of commission, I guess. And then that's when the Ghost Devil comes in, helping him. I'm pretty sure the Ghost Devil takes out the Machete guy. But then the girl uses the Snake Devil and just eats just eats the ghost devil and then disappears. And it's just like, oh, okay. She has a wasn't expecting that. And then it's just a very like solemn ending where it's like everyone takes a breath and kind of reassesses everything. Like I don't know what the girl's doing at this point. The girl maybe just left. I don't really know. Um, but Himeno's gone. She's wiped from the face of the planet. Denji still dead, I guess, because he got shot in the head. Power probably chilling somewhere because that's what Power does, but probably upset about Denji. You know, Power actually does have a relationship with Denji, so she's probably shooken a little bit. And then Aki is just looking over at Himeno gone, and he's still wounded, and so he's like, so like, it's kind of a moment where everyone's just like, what just happened? Like what? And then this is like, no one knows anything, because the the two rookies that were on their team got clapped. Makima and this other dude got clapped. So it's like, this was a targeted attack, I think. We're assuming by the Gun Devil. Maybe they feel like Gun Devil feels like they're getting too close. It's kind of crazy, man. Like, a lot of death just happened. Again, like, there's a lot of it I don't believe. Like, I don't know that anyone who's dead is actually dead. Like, even Denji, right? It's like, is Denji dead? Probably not. I mean, the show is called Chainsaw Man, and he is the Chainsaw Man, so Denji's probably not dead. Like, I would say he's probably the safest character in this whole show, the most plot armor that any character can have. It's like Naruto. It's like, is Naruto ever gonna die? Probably not. Probably not. It'd be weird if he did. Um, but even Himeno, where it's like, is Himeno actually gone? Yes, physically she's gone, but like, is it impossible for her to come back? Didn't the Ghost Devil just get clapped? Like, does that void any contracts? Um, and then the whole mystery with what happened. Like, who was the perpetrator? Who's the mastermind of all this? We don't know. We don't know. Again, my guess is the Gun Devil. They all have guns. Again, it's Japan. No one has guns in Japan. Only the police do, right? So a very easy connection to be made there. Not necessarily the correct one, but a very easy one to make is, oh yeah, it's the Gun Devil. Duh. But we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. I can't wait. Again, only one season, so only a few episodes left. I'm excited to see where they end this. Next, we got Do It Yourself, episode 9. One of the most feel-good anime I've ever watched. So we got Jobco saying that Purin is really sorry for his best friend. Love that moment because this whole time Purin is sort of tsundere, right? But over the course of the show, she's warming up more and more to the idea of helping Jobco, helping the club, saying some of her actual feelings, which I like. I definitely think by the end of this, Purin is going to want to join. Again, she can't fully join because she's not part of that school, the same way that the other girl, I don't remember her name, but like the ninja, isn't like an official member. But I bet by the end of the show, Purin is gonna be another unofficial member because she's warming up to the idea. She kind of sees everyone having a good time, and she's like, I want this. Because we don't see her ever hanging out with any other people. We see her at school, and then we see her in her room working on stuff. So I'm sure she wants that. I'm sure she wants this nice little, friendship club thing, as I'm sure anyone would, right? And the whole basis for this episode is Seraphim wanting to prove to everyone that she's useful. So she's gonna build this like pig house for meat. She's gonna prove, hey, I can be part of this squad. And it's tough. It's tough for her because she's really not that capable. She does a pretty good job, honestly, for her own abilities. Like, pretty good, but not all the way there. And it sucks because that is her, right? Like, she wants to prove her usefulness. She wants to show everyone that I deserve to be here. Because none of the little trinkets and stuff that she made sold. Everyone else's did, but hers didn't. So she's like, oh man, I'm failing. I want to be a productive member of this club, and so far I feel like I haven't been doing that. But coming in and doing what she's supposed to, Ray comes in and is like, you don't have to do this yourself. Like, you don't have to prove that you can do anything by yourself, because the DIY club is just that. It's a club, it's a team. Like, we do all this together. Like, no one here can do everything. I mean, maybe Ray can, but no one here can necessarily do everything, and even if you can, you're not supposed to. Like, we're together, if we're supposed to do everything apart, like, club wouldn't exist. We would all just do it by ourselves and make stuff and whatever, right? But that's not what this is. We're all supposed to chip in. We're all supposed to bring something unique to the table, right? And so they kind of explain to her, and Purin is the source of all this, where it's like, you're okay at the whole building of stuff, at the actual building, but your strength is your ideas. Like, no one can come up with the ideas that you have. No one, not Jobco, not Ray, no one. Like, you're the idea person. Again, Serafu's ideas, get sort of outlandish from time to time, but even with those crazy, fantastical ideas, there's bits and pieces of it that we're able to pull from to actually make what we want to make. Again, like, you forget, you're the one who designed the treehouse that we're about to build. I didn't design it. Ray didn't design it. Purin didn't design it. Like, you did. No one else. Like, to say you're not contributing is just blasphemous. And that makes her feel better. Makes her feel better because she's especially Purin, right? She's like, oh, Purin said that. So that was nice. They all chip in. They all they all finish the house. Meat loves it, right? Crazy. And so for the most part, this was a very nice episode. It was tough to watch in the beginning because Seraph was trying to do everything on her own when she clearly didn't have the ability to solo it. But then them all coming together and being a club, reinforcing the whole club team mentality, and really getting there where it's like, today's the day. We're here. We're ready, mentally, physically. Let's get it. And then it ends with this cliffhanger where all the materials that they took so long to procure are gone. All of them. And they're stunned. I would also be stunned. I would be shocked. I would be upset. I would be angry. Because it's like, what did they do now? Like, they needed those. They needed all those materials. What are they going to do now? They don't have the money to just buy stuff. That's why they were collecting stuff the way they were collecting it. What do they do now? Like, that was the day. Like, they all woke up, today's the day. Today's the day. Finally. Like, that will demotivate you more than anything. That happens in real life, where, like, you're ready to do something, you're hyped for it, and then there's just one thing that just takes all of the air, all the wind out from beneath your sails, right? Like, it's just like, what do we do now? And so that's tough. This is really the first kind of cliffhanger that we've had in this show where it's like, oh no. So I'm very interested to see what they do. I want to know what happened. I want to know if it was just like a mistake, like, someone out there was just cleaning stuff up. They thought it was garbage, so they took it. That's probably what happened. But even with that, it's like, what did they do? Where did they find more stuff? It took them forever to get all those materials. If they could just get them again in a day, they would have done that previously, So it sucks, man. It sucks, but I'm here for it. Like I said, this is a very feel-good anime. I'm sure this will end nice. I'm sure they'll get the materials back somehow. But we'll see. We will see. Great show. Do it yourself, episode 9. And then lastly, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, Episode 9. An incredible show. I love this show so much. Um, so this one was a big duel episode, right? It was all about furthering their Gundam incorporation. So we have Miorine challenge Shadiq to a team duel because Shadiq was trying to change some of the rules, some of the whatever, offering this contract, ownership, all that stuff. And Miorine was like, no, we're not doing it because under these new rules, not in my favor. You know, that's not what we're doing. And we already know from last episode, Shadiq, a little bit of a snake, a little bit of trying to eke his way into this in a way that Miorine does not respect, So they challenge him to a team duel, which is crazy because Earth House is not a dueling house. Like they have Suletta, who's pretty good. They have Choo Choo, who's pretty good. But other than that, they don't even have any other mobile suits, let alone pilots who know how to pilot, who know how to fight. Like there's no one, so it's crazy, but it is what it is. That is the only really, that's the only real tangible way for Miorine to get what she wants is to duel, because that's the school, right? Like we duel, and you have to uphold it. And just a quick moment here, I don't know how much of a throwaway this was or how important it is to some sort of foreshadowing, but Nika was meeting with Shadiq about something, and Shadiq called her a go-between, and I don't know what that means. I don't want to sit here and be paranoid and say that Nika is like a spy, but I definitely think something's going on there that we need to see more of. I want to know what's going on. Like, is Nika in trouble? Is she being like used by them? Like because Nika seems dope. Like I like Nika's character. She was really the first one to accept Suletta. Aside from Miorine, obviously, but she's the one who takes everything on the chin about Earth House, all that stuff. Like, so she's in trouble. She better not be. Ghoul was asked to help. Ghoul said he can't help, unfortunately, because of his dad, right? Dad said he can't duel anymore. But it is nice, on both ends that Suletta would even ask him, and that Ghoul would even want to do it and say, well, I can't because of this. Not I don't want to. I'm actually I can't. I physically can't. It would have helped though, I think. And then we're into the actual duel itself. Earth House getting clapped. Earth House is just getting rocked. Because again, none of them are actually duelists. None of them. Except for Suletta and Choo Choo. They're the only ones who actually know how to do it. No one else really does. And there's some weird stuff. The one I will point out is the one girl, the reason why she wanted to face the other girls, because the one Earth House girl, like, was talking to a guy and, like, turned him down or whatever. And the other girl was like, you talking to him, you shouldn't be allowed to talk to him or whatever. And then, oh, you turned him down? How could you embarrass him like that? He's number 12 on my list of backup boyfriends. And at that point, I'm just like, all right, so you're crazy. Like, you're an insane person. Like, for you to want to duel her and have such a grudge against her for something she didn't do, and then have a grudge on her because she didn't do the thing that you thought she did. What? Also, number 12? First off, you have at least 12 backup boyfriends. That's nuts. Second, you having any, nuts. It's like, what? And then we cut back to Ghoul. Ghoul's being withdrawn, which sucks, right? Because, I feel like at this point, in the beginning, we were meant to hate Ghoul. He's very uptight. He's very full of himself. But then as the show goes on, I feel like you're like, oh no, you kind of feel for him because you understand why he's doing what he's doing. You understand the relationship he has with his dad. He's really not a bad guy. He's just been put in this position. He's just trying to do the best he can and prove to his father that he's worthy, you know. Um, even that little exchange with Suleta where it's like, Suleta was like, I kind of understand. Like, I feel the same way about my mom. I love my mom to death, and I wanna do what's best. Um, so him being withdrawn sucks because it's like basically saying, oh, you're not dueling anymore. You're gonna be over here. You're gonna come to this other subsidiary. You're gonna learn to learn the business from here. All that stuff. And it's like you kind of feel for him a little bit. It's like, no, I want Gold to be redeemed. I want. The only reason he lost is because he faced Suleta 3 times. Or not really, right? Didn't he faced Suleta twice, and then he faced Ellen once, right? Which none of those were fair. They were all against Gundams. You know what I mean? That's not fair. Um, you know. But then what else do we have? Then we have this antidote. That's like a anti-gun weapon. It just like shuts down gun, the whole gun format basically. And from there, there's some fear. Like I don't think I've ever really been afraid that Soleta was gonna lose because she very quickly won all of them, or she very quickly bounced back. With this one, I was like, she might lose. Like she might. I don't know, dog. It might happen. It's basically like an EMP for Gundams. All of her little bot things are dead. She can't really, she's not moving it the way she did. She has to do everything manually. I don't know. It might not work out, but she's able to somehow wake Ariel up from that and like override the weird EMP thing, which is like they start calling her a monster because it's like you're not supposed to be able to do that. And it is a Gundam too, where it's like that's kind of the whole thing is that the Gundam is like sort of alive and working in tandem with the pilot. So like the fact that she was able to do that, oh no, oh no, she is not the one. She's not the one you mess with. It is not sweet over here. You face anyone else but her. Because her Ariel has like an arm missing. Her bots aren't really working properly, and she is still making you look like fools. 6-on-1, making you look like fools, amateurs. Um, and then in between all that, when there's the moment with her, waking Ariel up, it cuts to a very quick shot of Prospera, her mother, her face, a close up on her face, and we see a tear roll down her cheek, and I think that's of like happiness, of relief, pride. It's like, damn, Suleta, my daughter, my daughter's cracked. Like the way she was able to go again, like the way she was able to do that. Like I don't know if Prospera even knew that was possible, but she's like, damn, like Suleta's the one, you know. Um, and then it gets to a point where it's like, ooh, it might not be enough. It might not be enough. Too little, too late, sort of thing. And you remember that Earth House is not all the way out. They're down, but not out. And we just see a crazy snipe from Earth House going right through the head of Shadiq's mobile suit. And it's just like, ooh, dog, you can't count them out. You can't count out Earth House. That's who Earth House is. We're the underdogs. We're the ones everyone counts out. We're the ones everyone forgets about. And when they remember us, it's only to say some crazy racist remarks. Like, nah, we're here. Just because we're not in duels every day, and we didn't even have enough mobile suits for this duel. Like, we're smart. We're resourceful. That's what they do, and they win. And then and then Celeste does this little dance because like she remembers that this whole thing is to promote the Gundam, and she does the little like Gundam, we can fly, we can fight, all that stuff. So that was very cute. But yeah, it's just like the duel was crazy, the comeback was crazy, waking up Ariel doing that whole thing was crazy, and then Earth House having their back. It's just like this is a great show. I don't know where it's going. Earth House, Gund Arm Inc. is getting the traction that they need, which is incredible. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. See what happens with this whole, because Miorine is still doing her thing. Um, there's still people in the background trying to take her out, trying to make the Gundam fail. So, I'm sure that'll come around. And then this whole Suletta thing, like I'm sure that is gonna make waves. So I just love the show. I love it so much. And I'm excited to see what happens next. So episode 9, Witch from Mercury, incredible. And that is it. That is all the anime for this week. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of the different shows that you're watching. Your favorites, all that stuff. Anything I missed. Let me know of any other shows you want me to add. Like I said, I'm not against. We're very deep into this season at this point, but I'm not against adding shows. Like I said, I am gonna try to watch at least a few episodes of each of these other shows that are popping off. You got Bocchi the Rock, Akiba Maid War, Arcanite's Prelude to Dawn. Those are a few shows that are kind of popping off, and I don't want to miss them. Especially Bocchi the Rock. That one is like, it's got like an 8.7, which is a crazy score. So I'm very much excited for that one, as well as the other ones. Akiba Maid War seems just like more fun, comedic style anime, and then Arcanite's Prelude to Dawn just seems like, kind of deep, more like an adventure type thing. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, come back next week, watch some more anime. We're very close to the end, so not only do I want you to let me know what shows I should pick up real quick for the end of the season, but also let me know about, shows next season. We're getting close, man. Only a few more weeks of this. Only a few more weeks of these shows. I mean, Eminence and Shadow and Blue Lock, they are basically 2 cores, 2 seasons, so we'll be watching those throughout the next season as well. I don't think any other ones are, though. Like, Wish from Mercury, I know is only 1 season. Do It Yourself, I'm pretty sure is only 1 season. Chainsaw Man, I know is only 1 season. More Than a Married Couple is 1 season. Mob Psycho is only 1 season. Spy Family is only 1 season. My Hero Academia, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's only 1 season as well, I think. But yeah. So we got a couple ones that are gonna be rolling over into the next season, but we got some stuff, man. We got some shows that are coming out, especially with sequels, man. Like, there's next season is gonna be nuts. Like I was always like I was thinking about this season being maybe one of the best seasons of the year, but next season might have some pretty healthy competition. So, but yeah, let me know all that stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, watch more anime.